Good morning, everyone, and it's great to be here. My name is Len Kolf. I'm the Head of Business Development at Atlantic Lithium and the Chief Geo, and I'm here to talk to you about the Ewoyaa Project in Ghana with Atlantic Lithium Limited. Just our standard cautionary statement. So, yeah, it's great to be here today. I wasn't expecting to talk today, so bear with me. But it's a project very dear to my heart, having made the discovery back in 2017, and now having drilled 150,000 meters. I'm proud to say we're on the process now of building Ghana's first lithium mine, having made Ghana's first lithium discovery. Just a quick thank you to Ghana and Côte, ASX and Atomic Group, our lead sponsors, and obviously Phil and Des. It's great to talk here today in front of a home crowd. So we are now a near-term producer, 18 months away from initial production through our modular DMS plant. A lot of news flow to come, so I'll take you through the story now. Just a quick corporate snapshot. So as of yesterday, you would have seen we had a significant share price increase on the back of some corporate activity there. So market cap currently around 350 million Aussie. We're listed on the ASX and AIM, roughly 11 million in the bank. Major shareholders are SOAR International Holdings, a South African private iron ore ferrochrome manganese miner. Piedmont Lithium, obviously, who've supported us, as have SOAR throughout our story, and board and management and other. So you would have seen the news yesterday with the board rejecting two non-binding indicative offers from our major shareholder, SOAR, at 33 pence to purchase the remaining shares in Atlantic Lithium. That's roughly 63 cents Aussie. SOAR remain a very loyal and strategic shareholder to the group and have been with us since IPO and continue to support us. Fundamentally, the board felt that the offer undervalued Atlantic Lithium, and it was in the best interests of the shareholders not to accept the offer, given our near-term producer status, our pending investment from the Ghana Sovereign Wealth Fund, and the positive near-term outlook for developers in the space. So what can I tell you about the asset? So this is a globally significant asset and the 10th largest anticipated production capacity globally out there in terms of spodumene production. So it's a key asset, 35.3 million tons at 1.25% lithium oxide, all in spodumene, so very simple mineralogy. You would have seen roughly 3 weeks ago or thereabouts that the company was granted its mining lease. This was a significant de-risking event for the company, and from submission of the mining license application to grant, it was roughly a 12-month process. So now we're fully aligned with the government of Ghana to advance this project forward, and we can certainly see that now as our team starts to grow exponentially in Perth, which is our mine build team based there with our CEO Keith, and activities ramping up on the ground with regards to the mine construction phase and predominantly team building in the engineering departments. So what are the key metrics of the project? So it's a 35.3 million ton resource at 1.25%, and given its simple mineralogy and proximity to operational infrastructure, it really places our economic outcomes as an industry leading asset. So you can see it's got a 12-year mine life, a capital cost of $185 million US, an all-in sustaining cost of $675 per ton, which generates 1.3 billion NPV8 and $6.6 billion US life of mine revenues. And that's producing roughly 365,000 tons per annum of production at a 2.7 million ton per annum ROM throughput. So the MIF is the Ghana's Sovereign Wealth Fund, and you would have seen that MIF has indicated, or we've signed a non-binding heads terms of agreement to support the development of Ewoyaa through, and our broader lithium portfolio in Ghana, through an investment by the MIF into Topco and at the asset level. This is really important. So we now have a key Ghanaian shareholder on the register and key supporter of the project, which significantly de-risks our project going forward, along with the grant of our mining license. So very happy to have MIF on board with us. In terms of our other key partners, so Piedmont Lithium, so Piedmont have been on the register and supporting this project since we went through our pre-feasibility studies, DFS studies, and now as we move to near-term producer status. For their funding of those studies and half of the capex of the project build up to $70 million, Piedmont will have rights to 50% of the offtake from the producing mine for life of mine at market rates. The remaining 50% offtake for the project is still uncommitted, which is pretty rare in the space, and we're currently running a strategic process with a global investment bank looking at that offtake. So MIF will contribute to that capex. So you can see here on this waterfall diagram the total capex and how that's built up to the 185 million on the project. Then the additional, or the 70 million that Piedmont will sole fund, MIF's investment of 28 million, and their contributing interest at Topco of 11 million, which leaves a $76 million remaining capex, which Piedmont will fund half of under the earning agreement for Piedmont, which leaves Atlantic Lithium with a $38 million funding requirement for the project. So very modest amount. So as I said, we're a near-term producer, and we're now working on some key dates where we're looking at breaking ground in 2024, looking at first production through a modular DMS unit, so that's first spodumene production H1 2025, and first production from the large-scale plant H1 2026. Once we hit full-scale production, we'll be looking at 2.7 million tonnes per annum plant feed, which is going to be producing in the order of 365,000 tonnes per annum of spodumene concentrate through the large-scale plant. From my perspective, this is what I look after, so this is my bread and butter. We've just been granted 2 new licenses, which have been applications we've been holding for some time now. The company holds 509 square kilometres of tenure in Ghana and a further over 700 square kilometres of applications in Ivory Coast. We've just been granted 2 new licenses adjacent to our Eastern Bloc portfolio, where no exploration is being carried out historically. However, directly adjacent to one of those licenses is the historic Ejisamanku Hill lithium occurrence that the Ghana Geological Survey and the British Geological Survey completed a lot of work on. So we've got outcropping spodumene pegmatites directly on the boundary of the Bewadzi license. So we're pretty excited to get onto the ground there and start exploring there for further discoveries to be made in this exciting field. In terms of our project exploration program, so we've just increased our drilling program from 18,500 meters to 26,500 meters of drilling, which has been underway since March this year. That will see us drilling through to H1 next year. And that's both infill and extensional drilling, as well as exploration drilling on new targets, and studies drilling, so metallurgical drill core, etc. We've announced some pretty exciting drilling results at some of our key deposits, Anochie, Akwesi Krom, Ewoyaa Northwest, and Grasscutter. And with the new drilling, which is all going to be extensional drilling, so resource growth, we expect to see further news flow with that throughout this year and into next year ahead of a resource upgrade. as we continue to probe the deposit and grow that. In addition to the drilling, we've got major soil sampling programs and auger drilling programs underway over our Salt Pond and Cape Coast licenses, and now with the newly granted Bawadzi and Senya Baraku licenses. So a lot of news flow from an exploration point of view in parallel with the mine build. So what are our key growth catalysts? So you'll be seeing news out of our EPA permitting steps, which is now underway post the grant of the mining license. As I said earlier, the team in Perth is growing significantly under Keith's leadership, where the operational readiness team is working tirelessly to award on key contracts award and also for the modular DMS supplier. We are currently also carrying out some studies around flotation and feldspar and downstream conversion. And you'll see news flow around the feldspar study, which is a byproduct from this project. And rather than seeing feldspar going to waste, we'll be looking at supporting the local ceramics industry, which exists in Ghana, as well as potentially providing high-quality feldspar internationally. And we're also looking at flotation studies as another value add to the project. Project build, as I said, is underway on the ground with a key focus being the transmission line. So we've got a major high-power transmission line that goes over the actual deposit footprint. That's hydroelectric power. Project has a very green footprint with very low power consumption, given it's a DMS-only process flow sheet. Very low water consumption as well, given DMS process flow sheet. So small waste dump profile, small tailings profile, and only a 110-kilometer trucking distance to the port of Takoradi, which is a dedicated minerals handling facility. So very good green credentials to the project. And obviously, the exploration program, now with the grant of new tenure, we're focusing on growing our resource, exploring new areas outside of our resource footprint, and indeed looking at new opportunities further afield. And we continue to grow the resource with our large drilling program that's underway currently. So thanks very much. If there are any questions, please drop by our booth.